So I'm here at the CST School Improvement Conference, which is ACE, and today I'm going to be talking to Josh Goodrich about Steplab. We're going to hear about the origin story, we're going to dive inside, you're going to get to see inside Steplab, and we're going to be talking about one of the most challenging bits of all, implementation. All right, let's go. Josh, tell us about Steplab. How did it start?
A lot of it came from me just feeling like I couldn't get better as a teacher.
Yeah.
I was really trying to get better in the classroom. I knew there were issues with my lessons.
Yeah.
I would leave a lesson and be like, oh, well, I want that to be way better. But then when it came time for the next lesson, I was just doing everything exactly the same.
Okay, yeah.
And it made me really reflect on just how difficult it is for a teacher to make a change to their classroom practice.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And that feeling only got amplified when I was in charge of helping other teachers to get better.
Yeah.
Because again, I would do what I thought was good PD, which is basically stand up in front of people and give them some information.
Yeah.
And then I would go and see them teach afterwards, and no one would be doing the things that I talked about.
Yeah.
And so I was like, God, what can we do to overcome this incredibly challenging problem, which is the classroom environment is about as difficult a space for teachers to get to make a change in that exists in the world.
Yeah.
Right? What can we do about that? So the very first thing I did is I made this what was called at the time the leverage targets directory.
Oh yes.
Spicy. And basically that was like a big kind of look how terribly presented that is. Just a load of action steps, and the idea was that it hangs on a nail in every single classroom.
I remember
school.
I was at Joyce's school, I don't know, maybe 7 years ago, where I saw this hanging on the wall.
And so the coach walks in, and rather than them having to kind of pick something woolly out of the air, because they don't have that kind of granular, precise knowledge of how to name things, they could choose this.
Yeah.
So that was the first problem, and obviously that's how the action steps on Steplab developed over time.
Yeah.
We needed to scaffold the process of coaching itself. We want coaches to be delivering great models. We want coaches to know how to help people plan for change. We want coaches to know how to talk about lesson evidence. And of course, these are difficult things to do. Yeah. So again, we designed solutions to those problems to support teachers and coaches to learn how to do that in a simple way while actually doing it.
A sustainable way.
In a sustainable way, yeah.
And is there any evidence that kind of behind this approach?
There's a whole bunch of evidence. There's a bunch of evidence around the impact of really clear video modelling for teachers.
Yeah.
There's an increasing body of evidence around the importance of rehearsal.
Yeah.
There is a lot of evidence on the importance of collegiate professional development, so teachers working with teachers to get better. And then there's an overwhelming corpus of evidence about instructional coaching. And we find that all of that evidence comes together to support the Steplab approach.
Yeah, so granular modelling, rehearsal. I can't remember the other ones. Okay.
Yeah. That is in essence what Steplab supports schools to do.
Enacting the active ingredients of effective professional development.
100%.
Oh yeah. So Siobhan, you use Steplab. Tell us a little bit about that journey for you.
So we at Marine Academy Primary, one of the first schools to pilot Steplab, and we just loved it.
The first, I should say.
First.
Oh really?
The first.
Great. And what kind of impact has it had?
Oh, it has transformed the quality of teaching across our school.
Okay.
But it is also, what it's done is really enabled the consistency of teaching. So now our children know that no matter what classroom they're in, they'll get the absolute same diet in terms of routines and expectations from any staff member. So what we don't have anymore is that kind of drop in behaviour or increase in low-level disruption when there's the PPA teacher, for example, in the room.
Yeah, and so it's helped you to do your job essentially.
It absolutely has.
Okay, amazing. Thanks so much, Siobhan.
Thank you.
Rachel, so you've just finished your session on the implementation roadmap at CST, published a new paper which we'll kind of share in the show notes. Implementation of all this stuff is actually almost just as important.
When you're running professional development in a school, nobody trains you how to do it. The challenges that we've typically codified at Steplab are, number one, building culture, so making sure that you've got an open door policy, teachers are up for receiving feedback.
Yeah.
Number two, training, that you've got people who are trained on how to deliver feedback, whether that's coaching, drop-in feedback. Number three, systems, so ensuring that your teachers' time is set up so that they can engage in professional development.
Yeah.
And then finally, responsive leadership, how we're digging into data and ensuring that our PD is having impact.
Yeah.
What the implementation roadmap does is takes that all a step further. Because actually, to be able to have a really great culture, train your coaches really effectively, you need some really shared foundational things in place. So you need to be united behind a shared vision for driving teaching and learning. And to do that, you need to have decided and agreed what really great teaching looks like. That's part of culture and training, but it's important work that needs to happen first before you begin, say, launching positive only drop-ins. But then you need to unite your leadership team at every stage on the journey.
Okay.
So that means together going into lessons, diagnosing what the biggest problem facing students is, deciding on the PD focus, together designing your PD curriculum, together delivering it and driving it. So at every point, you're doing it collectively and you're ensuring that everyone's united the whole time.
And how long does it take for the school to kind of work through this implementation journey?
It's a great question, and I think the key thing about the implementation roadmap is that it's bespoke and it's context specific.
Okay.
So it begins with you diagnosing where your school is at, and then you're given your own route through it. So for some schools, it might be 3 months, 6 months. Others, it's going to be a longer journey.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rachel. That's been super useful. So I hope that's been useful and given you an insight into what Steplab actually is. I am super proud to have worked for Steplab for the last few years. I honestly believe it's one of the most powerful tools that schools can use to systematically improve teaching in their context. So do definitely go check it out. Head over to steplab.co and book yourself in a demo. That's all from me. Catch you next time.